The world economy in crisis. Europe in shock. Riots, mass unemployment, extreme parties on the march. It was not supposed to be this way. After the war, the European Union was built to secure cooperation, prosperity, and peace in Europe. And later, a common currency was introduced, the euro. It resulted in a long boom, but it ended in a spectacular bust. Where did Europe go wrong? And is the United States right now repeating the same mistakes?
Hello, I'm Johan Norberg, and this is Malmö, Sweden, my hometown. If we had been standing here in the Middle Ages, we'd be looking at the busy piers of the waterfront. It would be lined with ships right here. In the 14th century, those ships could carry more than 30,000 barrels of herring, carried to different European ports in a single year. At that time, Malmö was part of the Hanseatic League, an economic union of cities not unlike today's European Union. By the 16th century, Malmö was known throughout Northern Europe as a city of savvy business energy and of a commitment to commerce.
No one better represented the entrepreneurial spirit of Malmö than Jürgen Koch. In the 16th century, he was a very successful banker and trader and the mayor of Malmö.
This building was Jürgen Koch's home and the center of his vast business operations. He even had his bank there up on the second floor. Now it's a restaurant and a conference center. This place and this city represents the entrepreneurship and the international trade that once made Europe prosperous. So it makes it an ideal place to hold a conference on the crisis that is now shaking the world. Don Boudreaux, an economist from the United States, and I have invited some of the world's leading young thinkers. They're here for a couple days discussing the reasons for the crisis that is now affecting Europe, the potential for that crisis to affect the United States, and how it might affect the day-to-day lives of all of us.
The whole debt crisis started in Greece. Is there more involved than financial stability?
There is no connection between the people of Greece and the politicians.
Every rule has been broken. Every rule has been broken.
We've all seen the stories or read the newspaper reports. Are the conclusions we draw from them universal?
Now, you gentlemen have discussed the economic and financial aspects of the debt crisis. I wanted to touch upon another subject, namely the consequences for freedom and democracy, essentially those values that the EU is supposed to safeguard. I mean, and now we see that with the fiscal compact and the moves towards even deeper political integration, that the powers of national parliaments and ultimately citizens to influence the EU is diminished, and I think that will create a backlash that will make it difficult to manage this situation.
I think,
yeah, but like,
there will be the state.
Better like to have those measures taken now rather than postponing it.
Particularly in Southern Europe, you will lose political support for the measures that need to go through. And I think what you're going to see is the rise of nationalist movements of the left and the right.
We see that in Greece now.
And so Greece might become the norm for Italy, for Spain, for Portugal. I mean, even in Austria, for example, levels of hostility to the European Union are now running at close to 50%.
So those values of freedom, of democracy, are not as old everywhere in Europe as we'd like to think, and should not be taken for granted. Also, I think that the concept of liberty in the European Union has been skewed from a focus on on basic freedoms towards a much more expansive concept of freedom. If you look at the Charter of Fundamental Rights, for instance, it does not only protect freedom of expression and these values, it also protects consumer protection, social security, and all these things. And you see that European courts now are starting to make decisions that could result in austerity measures being declared a violation of human rights.